Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Welcome to the evil state of Washington, where we're going to pass the sales tax, or income tax. We have the highest sales tax in the union, and we're going to pass a income tax in the next day. And that means that we will have the highest tax load in the nation. Hallelujah. Welcome to our channel. There is an evil rising. And it's an evil beyond what anything has ever thought of. When we're done with this video, if you don't run to Noble Gold to buy gold and silver, there's something wrong with you, because unless you're broke like most of us. We use Noble Gold. We can buy and sell. We can push and pull, and we can avoid all the state taxes by doing that. We can avoid a lot of taxes. I highly suggest you start a nonprofit for the purpose of helping people, and then push and pull with gold and silver. Anyway, that's how we buy and sell gold and silver. We do it with a nonprofit because we are giving it away. In fact, we gave away, I think, $3,000 last month. All our money from YouTube goes to people. This time it's for dental care. We just committed, like I said, to $18,000 in dental care. We don't have it, but we committed it to it. Anyway, the only reason we can match that is because we've been buying gold and silver from Noble Gold. So we don't have to worry about anything. I never see the money I get. All these advertisers for Noble Gold, 877-646-5347, I never see a dime. And I'm not a financial advisor. But I know what's smart. And I know that the gold and silver market is about to implode when there's another failure to deliver. There was one in September, there was one in December, and this failure to deliver at the end of March has the banks shaking in their boots. Out of 56 million tons of silver, they're all committed. And it's only, what, the 11th or 12th? And that means grocery store prices are going to rise. This new evil will not run you by the government. It will run you by financial systems. You will do what you're told to do, or the prices will go up. You think we've seen inflation? Wait till the silver market implodes in a few days. We highly recommend food, water, toilet paper, ammunition, heat, communications, gold and silver, and medicines. And if you want Snookies, but I don't drink, so I don't care. But we are going to go to the post and get vodka because the alcohol in it is medicinal. We're probably going to go in the next week. And I'm sorry they're spraying on us, but this evil is so bad that Trump has not stopped the spraying of the American public. And he has not stopped the poisons in the water. Poor Kennedy, he can't stop it. He's tried. God knows he's tried, but he gets no support from the top. The 6'3" Trump is gone. We've got a 5'7" Trump, and we've got Susie Wiles, and I don't think they care about the poisons in the water. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're doing some tooth research, IGF-1. Remember we talked about IGF-1? It was an advertisement. Apparently IGF-1 stimulates tooth root growth. Now we've reversed cancer, autism, and Alzheimer's and MS. We've recommended seaweed and Immucyst. That's not a problem. 99% in 20,000 people in 16 years. But now we're looking at tooth root regrowth. Apparently IGF-1 suppresses a protein which allows the tooth root growth to occur. So we're going to mix it with Immucyst, a surfactant, 2 surfactants in here. And we're going to mix them. And we're going to start soaking our mouth in this every morning. So the tests begin today. We're working with a special dentist. The original dentist we were working on is moving, so we're sorry, but life moves on. We love her dearly, both my wife and I. We're going to take her out to dinner. But this new theory, well, according to the CDC, it should work. We're gonna test it. If we can regrow root growth, then all the horrible things that have been done to your teeth with all the fake and sugary foods can be reversed. But we're going to find out. We know that the dentite, and you better get the real dentite, don't get the dental. When you put it on your tooth, it fills the holes and you no longer have pain. So we can eliminate most of the pain. But can we regrow teeth? We're going to find out. We said there was a double 8 on Trump's head. A 0 and a 0 means 2 attempts on Trump on the 8th of March, plus or minus 3 days. Well, on the 9th of March, a leader for Iran threatened to kill Trump. And on the 11th, 3 days from the 8th, plus or minus 3 days, at 6:45 a.m., a van tried to go into the White House, break down the gate at the backside. The guy was armed and he was dangerous. So there were 2 attempts on Trump, just like we said. And my reward for warning Trump about 2 more attempts on his life was more censorship. Go figure. More censorship. And he's still holding back my retirement because we saved his life. There is an evil rising. There is an evil rising which begins in the political leadership here in the United States and in Iran. They have been bombing us forever. There's a paranoia that is going to come over Trump. When I flew back from Hawaii, I got to go to Hawaii twice. One on a military plane for 3 days. We had a lot of fun. Went with a friend from Kansas. Told him that if he gets in the ocean, the sharks will bite him, so he didn't go swimming. It was really funny. We had a blast. And once, when I flew back on a DC-10, you could smell the hydraulic fluid. The entire lighting system died, except the emergency light. So I went up to the stewardess and I said, "Give this to the captain." And I had one identical to this I bought in Hawaii for $2. So we're flying home and I'm going, we're off course. The lights are out. He can't turn around to find Hawaii because it's getting dark and he won't be able to find Hawaii because his entire GPS system is out. So I walked up and I gave the captain this. I said, "Captain to captain, here's a compass." So he took this little thing and we flew home. I forgot to tell him there's a 15-degree variation. So we ended up over northern Vancouver Island and then flew down visually from northern Vancouver Island and then made kind of an emergency landing because nothing worked, including the radio, I don't think. Anyway, when I got off the plane, I said, "Well, Captain, apparently my compass came in handy." We shook hands and he just kind of looked at me like he was shaking and he was white. I said, "Keep that with you at all times." Now, 99% of the airline pilots don't know what a compass is. They use GPS. You're about to learn this, President Trump, because the threats on you are going to increase. There will be paranoia in your staff amongst themselves. There will be paranoia between each other. God will pour paranoia on the White House staff. You want to censor me? You want to hold back my retirement? Now it's God's turn. He will pour paranoia. You'll look normal to the public, but there will be mass paranoia. And I suggest Air Force One, you buy one of these, because the first thing Iran's going after is your GPS. They're going to knock out the satellites and you're going to need a compass. Not kidding, Air Force One. Now, I don't know if I'd use this or if I'd reach in here and get my standard Forester compass, which, if you preset it and you understand map and compass, which very few electronic people do, you can sit in the plane. I've walked a mile with this through the woods and been 5 feet off. So this is a forestry compass, Silva. I highly recommend that you put it around your neck and you keep it with you at all times. Now this you can just mount on anywhere in the plane. Nobody will even know it's there. Nobody will care. But you'll be able to guide yourself. See, this says south is this way. It's 15 degrees off because south is this way, not this way. So there's a 15-degree variation in this. Learn about the variation. Go to the map and compass store and learn. You're not too old to learn, Air Force One, but the paranoia will be real, and the attack on Air Force One and your GPS system will be real. And it's going to happen starting now. They just took a company down. Iran did. They have been attacking the United States for 40 years because we help support Israel. And the Jews and the Iranians are at odds with each other. The Talmud says that everyone who's not Jew is a gorim. A gorim, a cow. That was written in Iran. So the gorim were the Iranians. So the Iranians and the Jews, the Israelis, have been at odds with each other. Because when Muhammad needed help, the Jews turned their back on him. He still took Mecca, but they've been at odds ever since, and they're going to continue to be at odds till the end of the world. The hate in the Iranians is never going to end. The only thing you can do is take away the missiles and drones the Democrats gave them. Democrats gave them. Now, this bombing of Iran has clogged the Gulf of Hormuz. 60 million gallons of oil is produced by countries like the United States. We make all of our own oil. So the rise in gas prices is an attempt by the oil companies, Gulf, Shell Oil, Arco, to jack up the prices and screw you. The gas stations aren't making the money. They're 2 to 3 to 4 cents per gallon they're making. It's the oil companies that are jacking up the prices and screwing the public, and Trump hasn't stopped that because we're self-sufficient on oil. We just released 174 million barrels. Now, barrels of 45-gallon tub of oil. But the wholesale price for oil hasn't gone up. What is going up is the cost of insurance for those ships, because there's 2 of them burning in the ports of Iraq right now. Because Iran says they're shutting down the Gulf of Hormuz, and they sent out little torpedoes into the Gulf of Hormuz, about a 20-mile stretch, which opened up and released a whole bunch of mines. So the ships try to go through the Gulf of Hormuz, they blow them up. So Iran's at war with every country in the Gulf. Oman, Yemen, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, every country in the world. The lights are flickering because it rained a lot. Sorry about that. Anyway, so there's going to be a massive, massive paranoia in the White House. God says, it's time. You want to steal money from the people? You want to block my word? He says, it's time. Trump has no intentions of getting rid of the illegals. He has no intentions of getting rid of the welfare for the illegals, and he has no intention of eliminating the $8,500 a month that 100 million people are getting through Social Security. But he did have the intention of raising Social Security for the average American by $35, but raising their medical expenses by $40. So he's putting the older people out on the streets because their rent's still going up. Their property taxes are still going up. There is an evil rising even in America. Nobody in the White House listens to anybody. You have to be a devout Satanist to get Trump's ear. Well, I'm never going to turn my life over to Satan, that little pretender. And now they're bombing Iran to get Iran out of the way so they can build the temple in Jerusalem and bring about the Antichrist. Daniel talks about that. These Zionists want the third temple built. And where do they want it built? Exactly where it was built the last 2 times. Daniel says that that's the abomination of desolation. Run from Jerusalem when they take 3 days to build it. They've tried to build it and everybody died. We'll see if it gets built now. Now, why did we decide to bomb Iran now? First of all, Trump's fed up to here with Iran attacking U.S. soldiers and attacking U.S. companies with their cyber attacks. He's fed up to here with it. But Purim traditionally starts on the 28th of February. This year it starts on the 2nd of March. So Netanyahu didn't threaten anybody. He's just tired of being bombed by the Iranians. Wouldn't you be tired of being bombed everywhere you go? Of course, what are we doing with 30 bases in the Middle East? We're stabilizing oil flow. So we're trading U.S. lives for oil company profits. It's been going on since the beginning of time. U.S. troops go overseas. They protect American oil interests. It's what's been going on. So American lives are traded for oil profits. And then, of course, the federal government gives money to the oil companies to look for more oil wells. So it's a completely subsidized business. Everything's subsidized by the U.S. government. Zig Heil, we're a national socialist organization. Tell me a company, give me one Fortune 500 company that isn't subsidized by the federal government, and I'll send you $100. They're all subsidized. Home Depot, the $1,000 hammer. Lowe's, the $1,000 hammer. The $10,000 little $1,000 generator. They pay them extra money so that they can do whatever they want. All businesses, Fred Meyers, Targets, Walmarts, all have steel beams. All are capable of being turned into a FEMA camp. All have 2 cement, reinforced metal rods where you can split a California split rim tire, U.S. Army engineers. They all have a place to work on auto mechanics, and they all have a place to eat. They're all subsidized by the government, and many of them have underground tunnels like at Walmart. And the logistic programs, I know I was trained on them. For Fred Meyer, for Kroger, Lowe's, Walmart, and Home Depot are all the same. I can go to Home Depot, get on there, and order an Apache helicopter with nuclear-tipped missiles right at Home Depot, and it'll be delivered. All I have to do is come up with an account or go in there and add zeros to a particular account, and we get the Apache helicopter delivered on the next go-around to the local Home Depot. It's very simple. Now, I've never ordered a helicopter with nuclear missiles. We have, however, added zeros to an account and added carpet to a general's office. And a friend of mine took an account and added zeros and bought F-15 parts. Why not? You just add some zeros to it. So anyway, in this bombing, apparently Netanyahu from 2000 to 2026 hasn't aged. In fact, you saw on the smaller channel the 4 different Netanyahus. It's not the Jewish fault, it's the leadership fault. If a Jew follows the Old Testament, that's wonderful. But he denies Yeshua. Okay, that's his religious choice. They're good, kind people. I went to a Jewish temple for a while. They were Messianic Jews. Because it says in Daniel also that the Messiah must come before the Jewish records are destroyed. And the Jewish records were destroyed in 70 AD. So while the Jews ignore Daniel and say they're trying to bring out the third temple to bring the Messiah back, and they ignore the Old Testament, the Messianic Jews read the Old Testament. Very important. Very important distinction right now in what's going on in Israel. Because the Jews who are waking up and read Daniel say, uh-oh, maybe with the prophet, maybe Daniel was right. Maybe the prophet did come before the records were destroyed. All the Jews know this. They're just trained from little baby kids to deny Yeshua. It's okay. They can deny whatever they want. They have religious freedom. At least they accept the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So Purim was the festival that the Jews celebrate because King Cyrus almost killed all the Jews, but thanks to Esther, the queen, who apparently was quite the beauty, convinced King Cyrus not to kill the Jews because Haman set up a big statue of Emperor Cyrus and said, everybody bow. And the Jews said, we're only bowing to God. So Haman said, they're not bowing to your statue. So he said, kill them all. And then somebody came in and said, aren't those the Jews that saved your life? He says, yeah, I guess they were. So he crucified Haman and his family, took all their wealth. So Esther, Queen Esther, saved the Jews from total annihilation in Iran, from what they call the Goyim, the Iranians. So apparently Netanyahu hasn't been seen for 3 or 4 days. There's a lot of missiles flying in all directions, and there's a lot of mines popping up in the Gulf of Hormuz. And the U.S. Navy, Trump said, escort the ships out through the Gulf of Hormuz, and the U.S. Navy says, no, we need to remove the mines. Trump said, okay. So they're sitting in port burning, a lot of them. So there's an evil rising, and as it rises, the dollar will start to become worthless if this silver, there is already a failure to deliver. If the markets respond normally, then we're going to see prices go through the roof. So again, food, water, toilet paper, ammunition, heat, communications, gold and silver from Noble Gold, and medicines. You're going to need all of that while we research teeth. Isn't it amazing that in a time when we expose how to reverse cancer, autism, Alzheimer's, MS, CP, and all that, foggy brain using ImmuSystem and C60 Evo, we can now use the IGF-1 and ImmuSystem to see if we can regrow teeth in this time when we're making great medical breakthroughs, that the evil is rising. Anyway, we've saved Trump now 102 times, so my reward again is block my retirement, and censor me. Doesn't make any sense, but if you think about it from an evil standpoint, then you understand that if you save somebody's life, even Satan, when his life is saved, will help you. This is evil beyond evil. This is evil beyond the Lucifer trust. And like they said last night, they're going to begin the wars for 400 years. They've extended it from 300 to 400 years. And they're going to create massive tension and massive lawlessness all across the world so that you can advance your soul as you're raped and murdered. This is beyond evil. That's what they said in their broadcast. I couldn't believe it. They're going to encourage rape and murder. Go Lucifer, right? God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow.